Well, looks like I'm getting ready to go live, I think. I do have to hit my, let's see, X Studio. There it is, X Studio. Let's hit the X Studio to create a broadcast. And ideally that's going. Let's hit a post here. What's happening? Let me put a little description because we're at Let's Talk Tridactyls. I'm your host, Mr. Ed, aka Alien Ed. And I am at Tridactyls at various platforms. Although TikTok seems to be angry with me. TikTok looks like has paused my live streaming ability or has outright revoked it. That being said, I'm not going to let that get me down. So happy Xenoanthropologist Day. And let's celebrate with a little teaser from April 13th. Was it 1967, I believe?
Stardate 3287.2. The course of mass insanity we have tracked across the galaxy seems to have already touched Deneva.
They're here! They're here!
You have to tell us what happened, Ariel.
Things. Horrible things. Don't let them go any further.
I am a Vulcan. Is no pain. I'm also quite blind.
Okay, cool. So what happens in that episode is
IRS e-file
Whoa.
is now open. Snap your W-2 and file your
good old commercials, even when you don't want them, huh? So what happens in that episode is you actually meet Kirk's brother, sort of. He's deceased. Spoiler alert. But they go and visit him, and Sam Kirk is known as a xenoanthropologist. And if you look on the latest Strange New World Star Trek, you'll see that once again, Samuel Kirk is back. He has his mustache, which just like William Shatner has, playing his own brother. So Bill gets to play his brother dead with a mustache, and that's pretty neat, I think. I wonder how we're doing live everywhere. Feel free to give me a shout out if you happen to see this. That means I know I'm live and things are working. Let me put my chat up. Chat window. Never miss a comment. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I feel like I've gotten into the DJ mode after being on the Dave Scott show, the space radio, spaced out radio. Yeah, man, that was cool. These guys gave me a nice little interview. We got to talk Tridactyls, and I didn't get to cover half of the stuff I wanted to cover, to be honest. But one of the things we're on business today about is giving away the Tridactyl head. So let me just go look around and see if anybody is watching. Okay, so cool. We've got our live on X, 4 people watching on X. Thank you for joining us. I will be giving away that particular head right there, Josephina. I know there are requests for other heads. Unfortunately, I only have mine that's mounted and another one that I kind of carry with me. So I would hate to give that away, and I wouldn't be able to carry a head with me. So I am going to go ahead, no pun intended. I'm going to go ahead and make some more of those and see if we can get some more out to people today. So I figured, why have you just listen to me just say, hey, I'm going to give the Josephina head today away, and why don't we first talk about a little business? That would kind of entice you into being a part of the Tridactyls experience, I guess you could say. And I have a few. I cited just the other night 3 professionals Cliff Miles, the professional paleontologist. He is a published paleontologist. He did not publish his paper, but he wrote a paper that he put his name on nonetheless. Dr. Zalce Benitez of the Mexican Navy, a forensics officer. So you got to trust a good forensics anthropologist. At least I do, because I have an anthropology background, and my biological anthropology class was a pre-med class taught by a gentleman who actually did forensics. And we dismiss the teeth, but of course teeth are super important when it comes to forensics. So if you see a skeptics dismissing any of these dentists working on it, like a Dr. McDowell say, just keep in mind that teeth are super important to forensics. And Kortkov too, the Russian guy. Now he's a little dubious to some people because he deals in auras and energies, but again, there seems to be something there with that. So I'm not really one to judge on that science, but you see me making the same statement. So 3 different gentlemen, and we talk about it, an international cadre of experts. Well, I mean, including McDowell, we have 4 nations right there, right? And then including everybody in Peru, right? So there are groups of different researchers. But let's talk about the Miles paper just a sec. Just some of you were wondering, like, why is that paper a big deal to you? And I'll show you. We'll just do a little share here, a little Sunny and share. Let's see. We're sharing windows today. There's all different ways to share this, of course. Okay, cool. Wonder if I can get a little smaller here. I don't know. It's probably about as small. No, that should be able to get bigger. Let's go full screen, maybe. There you go. No, there you go. I could probably go a little bigger on the other screen too. Okay, so the paper starts off right away with a little abstract, an introduction, and it gets right into some X-rays. So right here, we can see that there's something interesting happening with these beings immediately. Eggs, of course, the osmium implants. I'm still kind of fascinated by this myself. That shouldn't be enough to just sell you on it, though. Okay, so here we have some other scans. I believe these are the CT, yeah? Are these perhaps are these the DICOM? I'm not positive. And you see that this guy, Miles, he's already named him himself, probably knowing full well that technically I think the naming rights might go to whoever found them, right? I mean, I have my own name for him. I like to think that the difference between my name and some of the other names that people have chosen is that I chose the genus Naga as a name because I believe these are actually that's the closest thing culturally I could come up with as a structured cultural belief system in our so-called serpent worship. And when we speak serpent and snake worship, it's not really about serpents or snakes, is it? It's about those animals being stand-ins, metaphorical stand-ins. And I find that with a lot of animal symbolism, it seems as though the animal is standing in for the beings at one time. That's how strong of a belief system we had with these. So we're just going through the Miles paper and just seeing that sort of things that you can see for yourself. We can examine the skulls. All right. So we got the maxillary plate up there. Awesome. So definitely do yourself a favor. Get into the Miles paper so you can see that there's been plenty of science that has been done on these. And I just think he gets kind of pushed under the rug because I don't think people want to deal with the fact that we have to deal with these. They don't want to deal with this because it's a whole other can of worms. At least with Maria, we can all agree. Everyone says, oh, it's part human or it's a human offshoot. Okay, yeah, sure. We'll go with that. But then there's the other stuff going on with Maria. These, I still believe these have some human DNA in them, or human, I should say. I mean, maybe just primate. There's a recent orangutan study out, a primate study. They went into all the very detailed DNA of all the apes, and there's definitely some anomalies there, and that's coming from a traditional science. Well, you get some great images of the skull here and how it has like 2 lobes in the back, it looks like, doesn't it? Great views of the Cordiform, heart-shaped faces. Can we zoom in on this? That's even better, huh? That's probably, I wonder why this thing's not bigger on that screen now. Let's see. No. Okay, well, I guess maybe because, oh, you know what? I think this was set up for TikTok. Maybe that's why I have that screen. So I apologize for the small screen. Okay, so this is actually, believe it or not, this is the same specimen, I believe, that we're going to be giving away today. Miles paper. We're looking at the Cliff Miles paper. He's a paleontologist out of Canada. He is a published paleontologist. He did not publish this particular paper. This is a bit more casual. Here's something interesting. The foramen magnum is somewhat square-shaped. I have my theotherianthropic grapheme theory. That's the theory that I believe that these beings were the impetus to our written language and our spoken language, and that we can see clues of these beings in the alphabets of the world. And we can also hear their echoes in such words that I mention as the Naga morpheme, which is the sound, call it a nasal sound, a nasal N, if you will. Anyway, another unique part of their morphology is that square-shaped foramen magnum there. Yeah, very strange. All right. But speaking of letters, that foramen magnum looks a lot like the Chinese cowl, which is a square-shaped letter. Could mean an opening or an exit. Wow. We're just going through all these great pictures. What a great way for someone to get introduced to this topic, if you ask me, is looking at these scans here. Okay, some close-ups of the osmium. You know, what is that metal implant for? Is that to fix a fused furcula? I don't know. Well, I didn't want to look at the whole Miles paper today. I just wanted to sort of remind everyone about it, that is a thing. And I do want to remind people it is Xenoanthropology Day. How cool is that? So Sam Kirk is our honorary saint for this day. If you watch Star Trek and Operation Annihilate. I wanted to talk about what other news is happening, though. So let's go over to our Reddit page. Our Reddit group. We are top 100 in the paranormal. That's kind of neat. Top 22% groups. So let's go ahead and talk about some of my cultural stuff too. I do like to put in a little plug for my own cultural discoveries. So what do we have for a cool cultural discovery this week? We're going to go ahead over to our Reddit channel. And well, let's go. There's so many things to go through, I guess. Sometimes it's just cool to just use my Reddit or my X as a way to sort of spread the message. So again, we're going to be giving away Josephina's head today. I'm going to roll a D100, and the people who gave me a number or accepted the challenge were sometimes just a share. Ask people to share things. If there is no winner, we'll roll again next week and see if we get a winner. So McDowell and Zalsing Benitez have both been on Mosan's show, giving these really cool lectures where it's just the two of them in front of a big screen. I like the presentation. Theory updated his site so we can see more of the specimens' names on there. Earl, Fernando, Maria, Montserrat, and Rafael, Paloma, Santiago, Sebastian, and Wawita. And Wawita, I believe, is manipulated on the hands and feet, if I'm not mistaken. If I said something wrong, God forbid. But yeah, so of course there's going to be emulation. That's what the Proacus skulls are, right? We're all familiar with the morphing of skulls, not even just in Peru, all over the world. And so what does that tell you again? If people are binding their children's heads to look like this, and we see it in Europe, we see it in Africa. So the Occam spork the golden spork is, well, You know, it must just be something people all come up with. This is that whole independent innovation thing that just makes me absolutely nuts. You know, anthropology is much of it is based on discovering cultural diffusion. That is, seeing how one culture transposes itself to another culture. And there's different ways that this can happen. But my least favorite is independent innovation. That is saying coincidence. So I'd like to stop with the coincidence. And I think since we have evidence now, we can say, oh, these cultures that practice head binding, they are obviously in some form of emulation. I think human beings are just ultimately one giant cargo cult. And probably at the end of the day, these beings were practicing primate husbandry. And it might not even be primate solely. You know, they say this orangutan's genetic coding is very complicated, and as though certain traits were repeated and they were set as, I say set, I mean, it sounds like genetic engineering to me. Anyway, the orangutans have a backup coding in their DNA that allows for certain traits to still exist. And then I've always just been suspicious of these orangutans. They're in the area of what I call a Naga empire, coming out of the Celebes Sea and New Guinea and all these places. Here, there's the orangutan. It's always bothered me. Why is that ape all the way over there? And of course, we can say they migrated and yada, yada, yada. And my favorite is the, rafts. There's root rafts, root and tree rafts. That's how that's how the monkeys got from Africa to South America. I don't know if I buy that one either, right? So we're talking about the anomalous orangutan. We're talking about studies this week. We've got Theory's got his page updated. So always check with Theory's page. And we should probably check with tridactyls.org after a quick peek at my constant companion theory and the belief that our symbolic language is inspired by these, and that includes even our first two letters, our letters A and B. While the letter A is frequently associated with an ox, it also seems to be frequently associated with an alpha being. So an alpha being in the Brahmi script is Ka, and I suspected Ka was some sort of forgotten god, and it was. God is known as Ka as the Prajapati, the Ka as the creator. But I digress because I'm all over the place. Check out this. What's up with the cornucopia? So I had to bring up a new meme. Actually, I don't know if I ever made a meme for this one, but I saw the Mandela effect about the fruit of the loom, right? I know you know where I'm going with this. And so I'm like, yeah, but when people talk about the fruit of the loom, it's like, I almost believe the Mandela effect. Are they trying to erase this? Because if you look at the evolution of the art, if we go way back, starting here right in the center, I don't know if you can see my mouse moving, but it's the center statue. That's Harpocrates, a Greek Horus, and the cornucopia at this stage is like a lizard man type thing. And then even some of the other ones, which got me attracted to this particular phenomena, is that they seem somewhat anthropomorphic, as though there's something lifelike with them, which I think happens in a lot of different cultural contexts. There is a tree of life motif on a Taino cave that has a very distinct, I want to say distinct, but very similar Middle Eastern Sumerian spiral motif, which, if you're following along, the spiral motif seems to be a mother goddess, water goddess, fertility symbol. Cornucopia seems to be a serpent with Mr. Harpocrates here. The other interesting thing about the Harpocrates is that I call it the hold your chin up motif. It looks like he might be holding his chin up. This somehow got evolved to this for silence. So what are we shing? And then when I say shh, I don't know how many, again, I don't know who's following out there, who's paying attention, but shh is one of the morphemes of the mother goddess. And you'll see it readily in the shin letter, Ashura, Astarte. I think is also related to Astra and Star. So you have those two things. Where else are you going to find sh? I think a lot of the Chinese pronunciations, you'll find the sh or the she in relation to a mother goddess. And the mother goddess over there has got a couple different names. There's the Queen of the West, and then the Tibetan goddess. It escapes me, but what's really interesting about her, if you've been following along, is that there is an ancient Tibetan myth that the ogre goddess, who may be from the Ogre Lake nearby, the base of Mount Kailash, the ogre goddess mates with the monkey god. And there's a bunch of different monkey gods in our past too. Whew. Well, the cornucopia, very strange, serpentine, clearly some anthropomorphic being. It's not like they're holding an object. Am I right? They're cradling it. Anyway, what else can we say about that? It's representative of Amalthea, the nymph that nourished Zeus. So a nymph is typically related to water. We've got that a little bit of that end there, that little nagamorphine happening. Possibly that could be something. So what's the whole horn of plenty symbolization? What I understand is it represents knowledge and wisdom. So Zeus was taught by this thing. So you see there's more to it than me just being like suspicious of the way it looks. There is some anthropomorphism going on. The cornucopia is teaching. So that's that. I think it's time to go check out tridactyls.org. They always have cool stuff for us to look at. So we're going through the different sites. We went to Theory site. My site, what does my site have? My site has the 2 articles I wrote. I don't want to call them papers and confuse people. They're articles. 2 articles I wrote and a link to our store. So there is some fun stuff on there. If there's something you'd like to request for the store, we could do that too. I haven't even got everything on that store. Like I don't have an Inti shirt. So yeah, we named our mascot Inti after the sun god of Peru. In fact, speaking of that, Josefina, I actually think might be Mama Kia. So either she's Mama Kia or she's Pachamama, or I'm wrong. And there's another mother goddess out there. Got to keep in mind that these myths are kind of universal. So you can really start to see these patterns if you look from culture to culture. And so there's a mother goddess. The mother goddess gives birth through parthenogenesis. Now I wonder, is this a being? Is this Earth that the myths are referring to? But then that son of hers, she then mates with that son. And according to the myths, she keeps mating with the next preceding generation. And again, I'm reminded of the ogre goddess and the monkey person, right? And they said they had tails or something and they were bred away. I think the stories are in the myths without us having to. I don't even have to speculate. What have I speculated about? I don't know if I've speculated about anything because these are what seems to be lining up today. Last year and a half. What do we got going on, Tridactyls? Let's see. View specimens. I think I want to download any files. Maybe just view specimens because then we can see who they have up. So there you go. And you can do this yourself. I recommend you do all your interacting yourself. I showed you the Miles paper, but, go to Theory site, interact with the CT scans. Read the reports yourselves. They're not that complicated. They're kind of short. I mean, try a tridactyl paper and then look at the primate paper that just came out. The primate paper was hard for me to decipher. Luckily, through the AI, I was able to upload that and we were able to decipher some of that stuff. And that's how I was able to find out that the gorillas have a unique ancestor. The orangutans, in my opinion, appear to be some sort of a seed bank. So you take this orangutan, you give it all these traits that are some sort of backed up traits. I don't know how that works. Please do not roast me. I would love to have someone who knows a thing about DNA and genetics on here. Do not trust just like you wouldn't trust me to give you stock advice. Do not listen to my DNA advice. However, the orangutans to me seem like there's some sort of a seed bank. And perhaps that's why they are isolated from all the other species. And that may have been part of the problem raising primates as such as ourselves. Perhaps disease killed off many of us. There wasn't enough variety and there wasn't enough variation. And so maybe this was a trial and error over the course of time. But and the bonobos, there's a sort of term they're using for a coincidence with the bonobos. They're saying the bonobos self-domesticated. Self-domesticated. What the hell's that? That doesn't sound right. I don't think so. Anyway, what do we got? So someone said they liked Paloma, so we can go ahead and just look to see what they got up for Paloma. So yeah, Paloma's creepy in the face. I don't know why. I don't know if that's some sort of damage or what, or just some sort of prognathous teeth. But some of these can be kind of creepy and scary. This is probably why my TikTok streaming was revoked. Hey man, it's science. Kids need science, right? It's not like we're showing the naughty bits. Yeah. Well, I got no one trying to reach out and chat to me. Reach out and chat to me. In fact, how about this? Give me a holler and maybe we can talk about giving away a tridactyl head. Who wants to see the tridactyl head? There you go. That's a good question. If you are listening right now, give me a shout out somewhere and tell me you want to see the Josephina head giveaway. Won't that be fun? Checking my notifications here. Somebody shared my Let's Talk Tridactyls. Very good. Let's Talk Tridactyls being shown by UFO Daily. See some posts about the mother goddess. So yeah, those of you guys following along, it's my belief that these beings, let's stop sharing that for a moment. That was tridactyls.org. There's no sense me sharing these when it's way more fun for you to just interact yourself. So I don't even know what I was on about. So I got switched off here. Well. What are we going to talk about? Mother goddesses. Yes. So my research has led me to believe that when you see beings like this, cordiform-shaped faces, tridactyl limbs, when you see that in the Maori culture, what do they call those? They call them the Heitiki ancestors. Beings that look just like this. Why? Why would they do that? Why would the Telbrak eye idols of Syria, which look like little gingerbread E.T. cookies, why are those beings associated with fertility? Why are the Taino symbols and the Bella Kula heart-shaped face petroglyphs, why are they associated with the mother goddess? And why even on the Easter Island caves are the same heart-shaped cordiform faces associated with creation? Many of our myths speak of tutelary gods. Tutelary gods. I like to say tutors. They're gods that do some tutoring. That taught man language, that taught man alphabet and math and science. It's in the myths, but we dismiss them. We dismiss those myths in favor of our own Western myths. Sometimes I feel like all of Western belief, centers on like the town of Jerusalem and Rome. Like there wasn't an entire world out there. Recently it came to my attention that paper was invented in China and the printing press was invented in China. Gunpowder was invented in China. We're seeing a lot of new science for the out of China theory. This is not to say that man did not leave Africa. They did. In fact, one of the first jaunts out of Africa seemed to have made a beeline for Tibet, the Andaman Islands, and northern Japan, where our Ainu are. What a strange fanning out. What a strange dispersal. They went towards Asia. And these mother goddesses are best codified, and where I'm finding origins of the Naga people is related to the Tibetan highlands, Tibetan plateau, where we'll find the Rakasha ogre goddess, where we'll find the Rakasha lake, a saline lake. Why is a saline lake part of this is importance? Like Lake Baikal. For all I know, these beings are coming out of Lake Baikal up in northern Eurasia, Russian territory. Lake Baikal might be some sort of origin point. So why do I say that? Because why? Because these beings have pneumatic chambers. In fact, what I identified as the kappa, it's actually the lowest point right there, the lowest concave point on the head that I identified as the kappa, and the researchers have identified as pneumatic. So there are, and this occipital bump too here, this is pneumatic. So they're saying these chambers are there to allow buoyancy. And there was evidence of saline origins within the skulls, according to a researcher that appeared on, I want to say it was it Korean or Japanese? I hate to get my countries mixed up, but there was an Asian country that the Tridactyls went to. Maybe you guys can help me. He's the guy with the crazy hair, and he always wears a suit. He was in Peru. I know somebody's going to help me out with that. I think he's Japanese. Anyway, there's definitely evidence of this. And of course, our first thought would be the ocean. But that same lake that is the Rakasha Lake, next to the fresh lake, this with the prefix of man, Manosavar. This man is what it seems to sound like, what it seems to be in our etymological origins. It is what it is. The Rakasha is a ogre being, but the lake is also Lankuo, and it has that Naga morpheme in it again. It even seems just to have the word language in it. Langcuo. That's CO. The kuo is what they use many times for lake. Kul, Kul in I believe in the Altaic Turkish languages. Kuo and kul. Wow, there's a lot to be said. I think maybe it might be time for this giveaway. Anybody out there watching? Give me a shout out. I don't know if people are allowed to comment or not. I try to set it up so you can comment. Was there anything else I wanted to show you cool? Oh, well, the Ministry of Culture has been is being required by its government of Peru to I believe cough up or shut up. In other words, if they did any testing on any supposed tridactyl bodies in their possession, then they should come up with that sort of evidence. That's why I think the tridactyl.org guys, they released the DICOMs for anyone, so anyone can see Maria and see Wawita. You can do that. All right, let's see here. Let's find my screen that has our little dice game on it so that we can give away our buddy head today. How long have I been talking for? I've been talking for about a half hour, I think. Again, let me check the social media feeds, see if there's anything going on there that I might have missed. Feel free to tell me who your favorite specimen is. I had someone told me that Paloma was theirs. I definitely lean towards Josephina. I get confused because was it Clara and Maro was his name that was shown at the Mexican Congress? Now, are those part of a private collection? There's so many. And, someone said to me, wow, I had no idea they had names like that. I know people don't know that. That's why it is important. I see people making the little action figures of Josephina on the AI. Yeah, do all that. Spread the word. Do what I do. I carry around these little kodomas, right? This is from the Princess, Maoki, Mononoke? Help me out. Help me out, Gonzalo. You out there with the anime stuff? I carry these little guys with me. Let's pull it back for some focus. There you go. Oh, there's just one there, right? Aren't those cool? Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm going to throw one of these in, I think, with the head too, right? This one's probably a good one right there. So I'm going to throw this guy in with this head, and we're going to do the giveaway. And I hope that you guys use this opportunity to spread the word. You don't have to worship the beings, but our ancestors did. Did they worship them? I wouldn't say, I hate to say worship. You know, it's really like revere. You know, I don't even think there might not even been such a thing as tombs. No such thing as tombs. No, nobody wanted to bury anybody. But that's where the tridactyls came from. And maybe they saw twins, or maybe an injured tridactyl was brought back to life in some healing way because they have the technology, and these beings might be able to reincarnate. We don't want to go there. Regenerate, because it looks like they have a lot of amphibian qualities to it. Okay, here's the screen. Check this out. I made this earlier. And that's not it. That's a major letdown. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to do that. We're going to play a little music. Play some. I'm on the Restream. We're going to play some background music. And they've got something called cinematic I like. I don't know if I like the world music. Okay, I'm going to take a little break. 5-minute break. Mute my mic here. Hey, hope you're still with me. We've got our giveaway happening. All right. I don't know how many people are on right now, but thanks for hanging out. We're going to give away this Tridactyl head, Josephina. So what can we say about it? This is resin cast, so it's super tough. I can mail it just the way it is. I don't have to worry about it cracking like an egg. This is supposedly made from an actual scan. It sure is pretty accurate. It's got the kappa there, doesn't it? It's got the supraorbital arches, so that's always a favorite of mine. You can see that occipital protuberance. That's cool. You can kind of see a little bit of the maxillary plate there. I call it the isosceles plate because it's very triangular in shape. At least that's how they depict it in the ancient art. You see the slit eyes too a lot, as though ancients perhaps saw them not in a living state. I don't know. Hey, if you're out there listening, give me a shout. Ideally, any chat that you're on that you can see this show on. So that's right now. It's TikTok. No, it's not TikTok. Oh, they revoked my privileges because I'm showing gore. I'm showing naked tridactyl bodies. Hey, there we go. Does it have the square spinal column entrance? The tridactyl head does not. You'll have to make that yourself. Good question. Thank you, Universe, for being out there. All right. Universe has watched the show before. Good stuff. Okay, so who's ready for the giveaway? Now, if I don't get your number, if no number comes up, then I'm going to keep everyone's numbers. We'll discard that one, and we'll roll again another time. I hope to give away another one of these after I have another batch made. We'll see what happens. All right, it's 5:40. Here we go. I think I'm going to roll, Uni. Whew. Excited? Let's go. We'll play some music again. What do you think? Yeah. What's Epic like? Let's play Epic. I don't hear anything. Epic music coming. Oh. Awesome. Okay, here we go. I'm rolling. I'm moving into Zoom close. Here we go. Ready? Rolling a D100. I'm checking the chats one more time. Anybody out there? $11. There is no number 11. I'm kind of more excited about that. Wow. Okay. Let me make a note of that. This contest will have to continue, I think. How exciting. Yeah, if I got more people involved in if I did more contests, I probably would have got more people. But, you know, that's okay. Like I said, I'm kind of excited that it wasn't given away, because that means it just gives me an excuse to do it again. And now, because of that, we're able to do another contest. So that's fine. You know, I'll try to run it maybe even just a week, and that's probably enough. So I'll do this again like next Sunday, and we'll see if we can fill out that list. So those of you that are still watching, what can you do? So if you see one of my little challenges, it might be share your favorite tridactyl being, one of the specimens, and put a hashtag constant companion theory at tridactyls. Or it could be something like, what's your favorite artifact? Your favorite artifact that Tridactyls shared. That's me, my Tridactyls. There's so many Tridactyls now. What else? What else? What else? So what other were the competitions? We're going to do an art one. That's going to be fun. I saw that the Tridactyl action figures were too cool. So what else? I don't know. We're going to keep researching. My friend corrected me. He said, stop doing the thing. I think I know not to do the thing, but it's kind of like my casual, like everyman, Oh, I said, I don't feel like I'm doing a formal lecture here. So would that make me a little different speaker? I don't know. Maybe I haven't done enough public speaking in a while. I'm so used to doing acting where I just play a character and someone else writes my words for me. Wow. What else? I don't know. Stay tuned for more. We're going to give away this skull. Did it happen today? Hopefully we'll do it next week. So thanks for watching. Live long and prosper. This is Tridactyls Ed out. And keep watching for more discoveries because this stuff is